crafting friends. This is Tracy from A Trace of Tradition, and I'm just popping in to show you another project I've been working on. This is a sunflower card meant for a friend. You can see it has some sentiments on the front. It says blossom and grow, happiness, kindness, sunshine, and smiles. And I've got some butterflies. I have some ephemera popped up on foam glue dots, and then also a little rosette behind that sentiment that I made, and a little sunflower in the back. And then when you open it up, there's a little sequin mix in the form of a seed packet that kind of goes with the theme. And then there's this sentiment on the inside that's perfect for a friend who lives long distance, or maybe you haven't seen in a while. It says, true friends are like bright sunflowers that never fade away, even over distance and time. Marie Williams Johnstone is the person who penned those words. So if you would like to stick around to kind of find out how I did this card and some of the supplies that I used, please do so. Otherwise, I'll just see you next time. All right, so thank you for staying with me and visiting today as I explain my little process of how I made this card. The ribbon in the background, I bought at Michael's this year, 2025, as of the recording of this video, and it is an Ashland Spring ribbon, English Romance. It's part of that English Romance line that they have out currently. But it was at Michael's. It was $6.99, but of course I got it on sale, the 40% off coupon. It's just a beautiful, beautiful ribbon with those flower details, but it's like a mesh ribbon, and then those flowers are embroidered on there with little gold centers. It's just so beautiful. The papers and the ephemera are from Shabby Art Boutique. It's from her membership program called the Craft Room, and this particular digital kit is called Sunshine Farm. I printed the Blossom and Grow embroidery hoop, the little truck that says Sunshine Farm, the little bee, and all of these sentiments are all from that Sunshine Farm digital kit. I also used one of the papers from the digital kit to print on vellum, and that's how I did these butterfly wings here and here. And the interior, these little butterflies and this love sentiment, and this paper, the pattern paper here in the back, is actually printed on vellum as well, and that's just a little quilted digital that was from that same kit, as well as the seed packet itself. She provided the seed packets as part of the kit, so I just cut it out, glued it together, and it was very easy to do. I did, for the sequin mix, I actually had my Cricut cut that little sunflower shape out onto the seed packet, and that's how I got that in there. So those are all digitals from that Sunshine Farm digital kit from the Craft Room. And this background paper is actually also from a Craft Room digital kit. It was from one of her Christmas collections, an Elegant Victorian Christmas, I believe was the name of that. So that's where that background paper came from. So that's Shabby Art Boutique. And then the sunflower and the rosette and some of the backings on the butterflies, as well as this glittered cardstock here. All of that is cardstock I purchased at Michael's over the years. Some of it is probably more than 20 years old. I just was kind of experimenting with some new dies that I got from Scrap Diva Design, and I just started grabbing some scrap paper, and then I thought, those colors are looking nice together, so I kept on and decided to go ahead and do a whole project. And those cardstock colors went perfectly with this Sunshine Farm digital collection. All right, so now I'll talk about the dies that I use, which come from Scrap Diva Designs. I used dies to do the sunflower, these butterflies that are on the front, as well as this frame around my sentiment inside the card. I'm actually a long-time crafter. I used to scrapbook many years ago, and then I had babies, and as the babies grew, so did the activities, and so did the calendar and the schedule. So I had less and less time to do scrapbooking. More of my crafting time was spent doing crafts with my kids. And there were other seasons of life that it wasn't necessarily the happy, busy schedule that kept me from crafting, but there were seasons of grief, seasons of just different challenges that kind of kept me from crafting, as I know many of you can relate. And so die cutting is very new to me. As a matter of fact, the Cricut in the form that it comes now is very new to me. The Cricut that I had up until a year and a half ago was the original Cricut where you had to use the cartridges. And we used it for many school projects, cutting out letters for posters and all of that. But I'm excited about this new world of die cuts, whether it be with the new Cricuts or these die cuts like Scrap Diva Design provides. So I'm starting to build my supply of die cuts. So the sunflower was done with her kit called Sunflower Mini Album, and it has the background dies and the little stitch background. It also has a couple of petal die cuts that you can use. It has the centerpiece, and it has a little circle piece that can be used to help make it into a shaker. And it even has this little binding die that can be used. It has 3 holes in it, and you can use that to make it into an album. So that's kind of a neat piece that's included in that one. And then I also use the butterfly set, which is a recent release from March 2025. And I think she's just restocked this. I love these butterflies, so I've used those. And the third set I used for that frame in the inside of the card around the sentiment was this die set, which is called Heart Border Rectangle. So I'm not sure when that was originally released, but I know I bought it in either January or February because I've just started building a stash this year, January of 2025. So it's all new to me. So I cut out the pieces for the sunflower and then layered those, and then I made a rosette, and I don't have any rosette die, so that's done by hand with a border punch to make the fancy edges, but I scored it and folded it and did all that myself. No dies for that. And I had some buttons in my stash that I use. Those are ancient as well. I remember doing a project with my kids where we made little snowmen, and those we used the same set of buttons to put buttons on the snowmen. And let's see, so the inside, I talked about all that. With the sentiment on the inside, I actually printed this sentiment. I found that quote online. I typed it up in Word, printed it out on white paper, and put that down. And then I printed out the patterned paper from that Shabby Art Boutique Sunshine Farm kit, and I printed that on vellum just to kind of soften the look, and I layered that on top of the white paper that had the True Friends quote on it. And then I cut out the heart rectangle frame with that die cut from Scrap Diva Designs. I used that to frame the sentiment. And then I already explained the sunflower seeds, but this trim, I just have a bunch of sequins in there, some mostly gold, but there's some colorful ones as well. And then this trim was my mom's. My mom passed away. It's coming up on 5 years, and she was a master of all things crafty. She made porcelain dolls. She sewed my dresses growing up, Easter dresses. She sewed little tiny clothes for her porcelain dolls and other things that she made. She was never intimidated to try any new project, and she tried many and taught me a lot of what I know. I'm not as skilled as she was, but I do love to do paper crafting. And so she has, because of her sewing background, she had lots of little trims and material, and I do have some of that, and that has been a gift to be able to use that in any project. If I can use something from her collection of supplies, it just makes my heart so happy, and I know it would make hers as well, because crafting, she was a very creative person, and it was one of her expressions of love. Anyway, that's very special to me. And that, I think, covers everything. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I hope you'll come along next time when I share another project. I'll see you next time. Bye.